Let's go ahead and get started with a TA hover tap, all right? So that means we are going to find our transverse abdominis. That's what that TA stands for. We're gonna have our hands shoulder width distance on the mat. You wanna make starfish palms. You wanna get your collarbones nice and wide. My knees are right under my hip insertion point, so about 4 inches apart parallel. And then I'm going to keep my tops of my feet flat. From here, I'm gonna nod the chin and round the upper back just a little bit. Now I'm gonna visualize a hammock or a burlap sack under my ribs as the shins get heavy and I hover just the knees off the mat. Hold and breathe with the knees hovered. Keep working, guys, keep holding. The idea is to find an internal suspension sensation, like you're hanging on something, rather than bracing with your external obliques. Go ahead and gently set the knees down. Let's go again. It's a shallow curl to the upper back. We don't want to drop our tail all the way under also. So it's just a shallow curl in the upper back, lifting from under the ribs, hovering the knees off of the mat. Really give yourself a deep breath here and see if you can find that hammock under your ribs. See if you can feel the deep abdominals right next to the spine. Really hovering you here for 3, for 2, and go ahead and set those knees down. Let's go for one more time. Really focus on that lift internally rather than a bracing externally. So we're going to exhale, hover the knees up, keep softness in the elbows. You're looking down and back at your knees. Think about lifting a little bit more from under the lowest ribs for 4, for 3, for 2, and bring the knees all the way down. Good. All right, while we're here, we're gonna go into a little side jumping sequence. So it's gonna mimic what we do on the machine and our jump board. I'm down on my left forearm and my left hip. Hips are stacked. Now I'm going to float the right leg out all the way directly off of the hip. It's parallel. We're gonna start with a little bend and stretch, straight in and out. Make sure, guys, before we start that we're not like this. See these bottom ribs hanging towards the floor? Bottom ribs lift up. You're now connected deeply to the core. You should already feel sincere ab work. And because that leg is holding out all the way through the leg as well. Here we go. We're gonna exhale, flex the foot, knee bends, and the thigh bone sinks in deeply to the hip. Inhale, front side of the ankle opens as the leg extends. Exhale as you soften and bring it in. Inhale as you lengthen and reach it out. Keep working at that pace, and I want you to intentionally send your inner thigh longer than the sole of the foot every time you reach the leg out. When I'm doing this exercise on the machine, I can check real quick if that inner thigh is engaged or not. If you see it kind of hanging and swinging a little bit in the breeze, yes, mine too does that, you want to make sure that you are really activating, thinking about the hip plugging in as the inner thigh reaches in opposition. Let's go for 2 more like this. Inner thigh reaching long, hip plugging in. Exhale, flex the foot to bring it in. Hold the leg out. I'm directly off of the hip, it's parallel. I'm now gonna rotate the inner thigh forward. So now we're into glute med, glute min territory pretty sincerely, and I'm in external rotation with the leg. Now we're gonna exhale, bring the leg in. See how now it's in a rotated position? Inhale as it goes long. Make sure those ribs don't drop. Mine were starting to drop as I got so focused on the leg. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. Extra cardio effort. Right arm comes up and out, not required. Inhale, open the front side of the ankle. Exhale, inner thigh spins forward more deeply. Inhale as you reach. Exhale as you crease. Let's go for 4 more here. This is going to be the last 2. Really moving from the top of the hip, not through the foot only. Last one, hold the leg out. I'm at an angle, so I'm at about a 45-degree angle with my leg. Now I'm going to go into small circles. I'm still in external rotation. Small circles, drawing that circle inside the hip socket rather than with the toes. Last 4, get your head in line with your neck. If it's starting to get a little aggressive, you can look down towards the floor. Oh, we're not done yet. Everyone rotate internally. So now the toes dip down a little bit. The hips stayed stacked. Trace the circle in the other direction. I know it burns for me too. Find that length, find that reach. Keep it small. Draw from the top of the thigh, not the foot. Last 3. This is 2. And bring the leg all the way down. Nice job, you guys. All right, let's go onto our backs. We're gonna go into a roll up and we're gonna stay centered to start with. So we have our arms in front of us. You can always grab a dumbbell or a resistance band for additional effort, not required. Close parallel with the legs. Plug the arms into the middle back, whether you're holding something or not. Lean with a flat back 2 to 3 inches. That's gonna engage the deep abdominals. Melt the tailbone under you first, then the low back, then with length, we go through the middle back, all the way down onto the upper back, and the back side of the head. First thing that happens, inhale, hover your hair, head, neck, and shoulder blades up off the mat. Exhale as you continue that curl, rising all the way up to a seated position at the top. Here we go again. Flat back, lean with a flat back, tailbone first. Everyone unwind to a flat back again. See if you can find even more control, articulating just the tailbone rather than allowing more of the back to go with you. So start in that lean, tailbone melts under. You should feel really low belly activation, slowly curling down, all the way to the floor. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale as you peel the shoulder blades up. Inhaling at the top, we are going to lean just a little bit. Lean, tailbone only, holding here. Now we're gonna lengthen back an inch and rise up an inch. Notice I didn't say go down, I said length. So it's not about going down towards the floor, it's about our spine being like a hammock. Lengthening as we reach, lengthening down. We so often use the effort going up. I want the effort eccentrically going down. Last 2, last 1, with control, rise all the way up. All right, set your prop down. If you grabbed one, we're gonna flip over onto our hands and knees again. We're gonna have our hands wide, 4-point kneeling position, knees directly under our hips. Flip the toes under for this one because I'm gonna offer a challenge in just a moment that you're gonna decide if it's for your body or not today. Okay, so pay attention to you. From here, we're going to reach the right leg super long behind us, open the front side of the ankle like so. That's an inhale. Exhale, we're going to round the spine and bring it in. Inhale as you extend. Exhale as you round the spine and bring it in. What's that you say? You want more challenge? No problem, happy to deliver. If you're looking for more challenge, we're gonna hover both knees off the mat, same thing. Now the left knee is hovered as the right leg reaches back and we round and curl to bring it in. If that's aggressive to your body, keep your knee down and you're gonna do the same thing we started with. We only have 4 more here. Keep that knee up if you can. Exhale as we draw it in. Inhale as we extend. Last 2, stay with me guys. Collarbones are wide, middle back is broad. Inhale to reach. Exhale as we bring it in. This is the last one with control. Reach the leg out, hold and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring both knees down. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and rise onto our feet. We're gonna go into a little plie with a side bend. So bring your feet and knees close together. We're in a close parallel position to start with. Inner thighs are gonna spin forward and that brings our feet into a first position. So my feet started like this, inner thighs opened, now they're at a 45-degree angle. We're gonna go into a plie. Equal weight across the soles of the feet. Spin the inner thighs forward so that the knees bend a lot, but we're gonna keep the torso upright. From a profile, it looks like this. So I didn't bow forward, I'm still upright. All right, can you find a little more low belly activation here? Because you're thinking about the spine reaching long with every inhale that your height doesn't change. All right, from there, we're going to take the heels and peel them up off the floor. Play around with it in your body. In my body, keeping my heels glued together really helps me to access the inner thighs, pelvic floor, and low belly really sincerely. So try to keep the heels together. If that doesn't work for your ankles or knees, you can have them hover apart. We're gonna take our hands up and overhead. Bend the elbows a lot so that your collarbones are nice and wide. And then we're gonna inhale as we arc, fanning open the right ribs. Exhale, use the base of the ribs to return you to center. Inhale as we open up the left ribs. Exhale, base of the ribs brings you back to center. So we're going into our little side flexion here. We're doing it standing to increase the cardiovascular challenge. And we're challenging our balance as well by being up on the balls of feet. Keep working. If that's not for you, simply put your feet flat and see if this is a better choice for your body today. If you feel more activation through the core rather than messing around with all that balance business, that's totally fine. So you can keep your heels up or down. Inhale as you arc. Exhale with control. Bring it back to center. Inhale as you arc. Good. Just a few more here. Additional challenge, arms can come long. We're lengthening the lever. You'll feel even more core effort here. Inhale as we arc and fan open. Exhale, bring it back to start. Good, try not to grip with the toes. See if you can melt the toes. Melt the balls of the feet together. Inhale as we arc. Exhale, back to center with control. Arms imprint down, heels imprint down, and we gather, rise all the way up. Okay, let's go into a lunge. But today we're gonna do it again in external rotation. So similar setup to what we just did. Get towards the top of your mat. Start with a closed parallel position. Spin the inner thighs forward so we activate through the back line of the glutes all the way up to the belt line. We're gonna keep the right leg forward and turn out and step the left leg straight back. So now we have two legs in a turned out position. And I'm gonna ask you to bow forward in this lunge today. So it's gonna look like this. As we lower down, the right knee bends, and we're gonna exhale, arms come up. So this is where we could also use dumbbells or a resistance band. If you have them close by, feel free to grab those. I'm gonna demonstrate with empty hands. Exhale as you crease forward. Inhale as you bring it up. Exhaling, really watch that right knee, that it's aligned with big toe, second toe. Mine really wants to dive out over the pinky toe. So we're exhaling as we lower down, creasing at the hip, right sitting bone goes really broad on the way down. Inhale as we narrow, and we're coming all the way upright at the top. Exhale as we lower down. Keep working. I'm gonna demonstrate with dumbbells as well. So it would be a very similar movement. We're now just have dumbbells in our hands to increase the cardio effort, and we're gonna add more sculpting effort to the arms, shoulders, middle back, and core. So either way works totally fine. You choose what you've got accessible to you today. And let's hold the next one down with the knee bent, but let's keep the torso upright. I like the dumbbells or the weights at the center of my chest. From here, we're gonna pick the right heel up off the floor. We're now on the balls of both feet. If that's not for your balance today, bring that right foot flat again. Exhale as we lower down. Inhale as we bring it up. So make sure we've got the navel drawing up and in between the shoulder blades the whole time. We've got all 10 toes on both feet melting into the floor below us. Think about that right femur bone, the thigh bone stretching long. That's gonna help you level out the pelvis and sink that thigh bone deeply into the hip socket. Let's go ahead and hold the next one low. Hold, really reach with length through the spine in your breath. Isometric challenge for 5. Holding for 4. Can you get a tiny bit lower and stretch more through that femur bone? Last 2. With control, right heel melts through the floor. Inhale, gather, and rise all the way up. All right, if you grab those weights, let's go ahead and keep them for a moment, and we're gonna go into a jumping plie. So we're gonna step into a wide turned out position like so, wider than your shoulders. We're gonna start with our arms in a W as we lower down into a wide plie. So the elbows are folded, hips are folded, knees are folded, right? And then we're gonna inhale, come all the way up, arms extend. If that straightaway doesn't feel great for you with your resistance band or your dumbbells, set them down and do this with empty hands. Inhale as we lengthen, exhale as we soften the knees and go down. Inhale as we lengthen. All right, so that's a great challenge. If you don't want to work on a balance challenge next that I'm gonna offer, keep going. So I'm gonna show you from the front so you can see the difference. What we're going to do next is we're gonna weight shift, and I'm gonna put all of my weight onto the standing left leg, but notice my right leg is still low. Exhale as we go through the middle. Inhale now, transferred all the weight into the right leg, reaching long with the left. So it's not about a side kick, it's about a long X. We're reaching with the long X on the inhale to lift, exhale to lower. Inhale as we extend, exhale to lower. Watch that those knees are aligning, big toe, second toe. Watch that your torso is staying upright. Think about an inhale for a long extension. Exhale as we lower down. Keep working. I'm going to show you from the profile, because as we lower into that plie, especially with the weights, we can start to get a little not so careful about it and bow forward into a squat. I'm asking for a plie, which means that you stay upright in the torso, even as we shift through the middle, side to side. Let's go for 3 more. Even your body out. If you're already even, just go through the middle. Last 2. Last 1. And with intention, bring it all the way up. You can keep your weights or you can set them aside. We're going to go into the lunge on the other side. So we're going to have our feet close together to start with, close parallel. And then we are going to swivel the toes open, finding the inner thigh, glute med, glute mid connection. Keep the left foot where it is this time and take a natural step back with your right foot. Remember, we're going to bow on these today. So as the left knee bends, we're going to exhale and the arms sweep alongside the ears. And then we inhale and we lengthen all the way upright. Exhale, think about that left thigh bone really stretching as you work. Inhale as you bring it up. Let's hold this next one down just for a brief second. Hold this next one down for a brief second. And I want you to take a glance at your left knee. Make sure it's aligning, big toe, second toe. That's really important to find that bone rhythm and proper alignment for our breath. Exhale to prepare. Inhale as we come all the way back up. Keep working. I'm going to show you something from the front. When we're in this turned out position, it can get real easy to send our pelvis off to the side like so. So check in with your hips also, that your ASIS on the front side of your hips, those little sticky outy bones, they are shining forward. Even as we bow down, we want everything to stay forward rather than rotating out to the side. All right, now we're going to hold. So go into that hold with me. So we have both knees bent a lot, but we're going to keep the torso upright. Weights are at your chest if you have them. And we're going to bring the left heel off the floor. That should sink your femur head even more deeply into the pelvis. All right, from here, guys, exhale, lower down. Inhale, bring it up. The activation is happening right through that left hip. It's like a lever. That femur bone, keep working, is going through the dome of the pelvis like a lever to lower and raise you. We don't want to just bounce in it. We don't want it to look like this. We want it to really be an intention of that femur head gliding through and improving functionality of the hip. Let's hold the next one low. We're holding and breathing. Stretch that left femur bone. Think about all 10 toes melting into the floor. Level out the belt line. Get a little bit lower for 3, for 2. With intention, left heel goes down. Inhale, gather, rise all the way up. All right, let's go ahead and get onto our 4-point kneeling. We're going to do that single leg pull next. So let's come onto our knees again. Hands are shoulder width distance on the mat. Knees are just under the hips. We're going to flip the toes under. And then we're going to start with the left leg reaching long. That's an inhale. And then we're going to exhale as we round and draw it in. And then we're going to inhale as we extend. Exhale as we round the spine and we draw it in. All right, here comes the challenge part. Next time you come in, if you want to layer that on, pick your right knee up off the floor, and then we're going to hover the knee the whole time that we're working, sending that left leg in and out, flexing the spine deeply, inhaling as we extend. Exhale, think about lifting from under your ribs. Inhale, really reach for length with a neutral pelvis. Exhale as we draw it in. Try not to lock into those elbows or shoulders. Let's go for 2 more here. I'm with you, I got my knee up. I know it's awful. Inhale as we lengthen. This is our last one. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, reach it out. With intention, draw the left foot down and both knees to the mat. All right, let's go ahead and get those side jumps done with our right forearm and right hip down. So we're gonna have the right forearm down, knees are bent, and right hip is on the floor. Stack the hips. And we wanna make sure we're still maintaining a neutral pelvis and lots of length. So lift the bottom ribs, lengthen the top waistline, and here we go. Now we're gonna invite that left leg all the way out long, directly off the hip and parallel. What happened to the shoulder and the ribs? Did you already kind of dump down because the leg lifted up? Think about lifting and lengthening the whole time. Here we go. Exhale as we bring the leg in to approximately 90-degree bend. Doesn't have to hit that. Notice my ankle, knee, and hip are on the same height. And then we're going to inhale as we extend. They're still on the same plane. Exhale as we bring it in. Flex the foot deeply like you're landing on the jump board. Inhale as if we were in flight. Exhale, bring it in. Watch those bottom ribs. Make sure they did not draw towards the floor. Inhale as you extend. Make sure that inner thigh is very active. The inner thigh is reaching longer than the sole of the foot as the leg draws in. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, send it out. Extra challenge, if you're up for it, not required, we're going to take that top arm up towards the sky. Exhale to bend. Inhale to extend it all the way out. Really lift off of that bottom elbow and shoulder. That should not be holding your weight as much as your core is. Hold the next one, leg long. Leg is long. Swivel the inner thigh forward, but without the hips dropping back. Keep the hips neutral and quiet. Here we go. Exhale as we flex the foot, bend and land. Inhale as we jump out. So now my leg is at a little bit of an angle in front of me. It's not straight off the hip. Inhale as you extend. Exhale as you land. Keep working, guys. So this whole time, that leg is now in an externally rotated position. It's not only about the foot, we need that inner thigh. So if my arm is the leg, we need that inner thigh to rotate, and that's why the foot moves, okay? So make sure you got that connection all the way up, close to the core. Let's hold the next one out. We're at a bit of an angle, right? And then we're gonna go into those little circles. We're still in external rotation, and we're drawing that circle from the top of the femur head. We're not drawing it from the toes, okay? So I'm sure lots of times you've heard people say like, oh, draw an orange, a softball, a golf ball. Draw from here, and you're gonna find so much more. I like to think about holding the wrong end of a pencil. So I'm holding an eraser as I'm trying to draw a circle over there, okay? Let's go ahead, hold. Rotate that pencil internally. Ooh, I know, right there, right? And then we're gonna draw the circle the other direction. So draw the circle the other direction of what you were just drawing. I don't care which way it is, don't drop into those ribs. If your neck is starting to feel tense, you can turn your head to gaze at the floor. Let's go for 3. We're gonna grab our dumbbells, band or wine bottles next for 2. With control, bring that leg all the way down. All right, guys, we're gonna go into a seated row. So we're gonna go into a little postural inspired sequence that we would normally do with our hands in loops if you were on a WundaFormer, okay? Legs are long in front of you. I'm gonna invite you to take some resistance in your hands as well, okay? Not required. We're gonna lean with a flat back, just like we were doing on that roll down earlier. Lean with a flat back. The first thing that happens, shoulder blades melt down around the ribs. Tremendously important. You should feel the arms really strongly supported by the middle back. Once that happens, then we can inhale, broaden the middle back, and fold the elbows towards the sides. Then we're going to exhale with power as we return the arms long. Shoulder blades melt down around the ribs. Inhale, broaden your middle back. Exhale, return it to start. Inhale. And exhale, return to start. Keep working. I'm going to show you from the back what I mean about those shoulder blades to make sure it's really clear. So as we're working, we want to find the shoulder blades melting down and around first. My elbows have not bent yet. So we don't want to do this. And see how this big gap came in between the shoulder blades? We want the shoulder blades to melt down, the middle back to activate and broaden as we send the elbows back, okay? Let's go for 2 more here, and we're gonna go into a teaser. Long spine, shoulder blades first. Really lift off of the pelvis. Try not to hunker down into the hips. Think about lifting like your head is a puppet string, lifting away from the tailbone. Holding it here. You can keep your dumbbells or set them aside. I'm gonna ask you to float your right leg into a folded position. Keep it down on the floor. Left leg also is now in a folded position. Remember that tailbone thing we did earlier where we were melting the tailbone? Do that again. You should feel really deep low belly activation and kind of a lengthening and toning when we do that. All right, here we go, guys. Now we are going to invite both legs up into a teaser position. If you're like, oh, not for me, do one leg at a time, okay? Here we go. Little bicep focus. Shoulder blades melt down to send the weights up. Again, shoulder blades melt down to send the weights up. Keep working. I'm going to demonstrate what I mean about that shoulder blade, so keep working in that teaser pose, alternating legs if you need to. I want to see the shoulder blade melt down and around, and that is what brings the arm up. Do you see how that keeps this collarbone nice and wide and keeps the shoulder off of my ear? All right, so let's go for 2 more here. If you have no weights, we're still mobilizing the scapula, and that is a beautiful thing to do. So no weights is totally fine. This is gonna be our last one. We're just gonna hold and breathe for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, and bring the legs all the way down. Amazing job. Okay, you can keep one dumbbell, or you can have no weights in your hands or your resistance band. We're gonna go all the way down onto our back, and we're gonna go into some jumps on our back. Little supine jumps is what we're going to effort through. So you can hold your dumbbell over your chest if you have one. We're gonna flip the right leg up into tabletop first. Then we're gonna flip the left leg up into tabletop. I'm gonna ask you for a challenge today. Keep your knees and feet about 4 inches apart rather than closing them together. Now we're going to inhale as we reach the legs long, like we're jumping. Exhale, flex the feet like you're landing on the jump board. Inhale as we go long. Exhale as we bring it in. Extra challenge. Come up into that abdominal curl. Inhale and exhale. So your shoulder blades are up and off of the mat, but your low back did not get smashed down. We want lots of length the whole time. If this feels aggressive to you, you can always choose one leg at a time, like so. You can also choose to not go all the way out, so you can go with a little bit of a bend and bring it back in. Either way, you're gonna get beautiful core focus, beautiful sculpting and toning of the legs, and length through the entire body. So do what works for you. Inhale as you extend. Exhale, crease at the ankles, bring it in. Inhale as you extend. Let's go for 4 more here. Find that breath, find that length all sides of the spine. We're gonna go into a little rotating plank next. Bring the feet in, head, neck, and shoulders roll down, and lower the feet to the mat. All right, guys, let's go ahead and flip over. We're gonna come onto our hands and knees to start with, and then we'll step back onto our toes as well. I'm gonna ask you to step your toes parallel wide, about as wide as your shoulders. For me, that's almost as wide as my mat. Now what we're gonna do is soften the right knee and allow the right hip to rotate and bring it back to start. Left knee bends and the pelvis rotates, left hip dips, and back to start. So keep working at your own pace, finding lots of length through the body as we work, and it's a small rotation, keep working. So we don't wanna see a whole lot of belly dancing. It's a rotation with length and control. So it's not about jamming the knee to the floor. You want to create long lines in the body. As we're doing a little rotation, you'll feel that waistline really fire on every time. Let's go for 4 more here. Collarbones stay wide, little bend and rotate. Bring it back in. We have 3 more, stay with it. Try not to let your booty pop up. You want to find a beautiful diagonal line from your head through your heels. This is the last one. Hold, long body. Hold and breathe for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and bring the knees all the way to the mat. Gorgeous job, you guys, we made it. We're gonna go into a little downward facing dog since we're here. So roll the wrists if you need to. Open up those shoulders and then come into a nice downward facing dog. Just really think about sending your chest down through the arms. You can kind of shake your head, releasing tension in the neck. I'm gonna pedal out the feet a little bit. Stretching through the back side of the body. Go ahead, return the knees down to the mat. We're gonna go into a little spinal jump rope. I'm gonna show you straight on so you can see what the heck is happening and what I'm talking about. So we're gonna be in that 4-point kneel position. And I'm gonna get my props out of the way. And then what we're gonna do is send our pelvis to the right, and almost as if my spine were a jump rope, I'm gonna allow it to go low through the middle, over to the left, rounding up, and now in a cat pose, and then over through this side. Okay, so we go to the right, down through the middle, to the left, up and over. So don't overthink it, just keep working. We're just opening up through the hips, opening up through the spine. We're going to one side. It's not a huge jump rope range of movement. And then we're bringing it up. My shoulders are relatively quiet. And guess what? So I chose for us to start on the side that's easier for me, because that's what we do in our bodies. We default. We're gonna go the other direction now. So we're gonna open to the left. Oh my gosh, it feels super wonky for me. So one side probably felt wonky to you, and the other side is like, oh, this is my rhythm. This is my jam. So it's always good to work in both directions, trying to create a nice balance in the body. So don't overthink it, just really kind of visualize the shape of a jump rope, scooping up and over, and then down through the middle. Come through center, and let's finish with one last child's pose. Knees go wide, toes are touching, arms come long in front of you. Take a nice deep breath here. Keep working there. I like to think about my breath separating spaces between the vertebrae while we're working. Go ahead and slowly rise all the way up, and you did it. Amazing job, you guys.